Good morning. Happy Carb Sober Sunday to you. And I am hoping that today will be a great session of lots of questions and answers. And what I wanted to start out with and talk about is the lower fat way of eating that I have been pretty much implementing, and a lot of you have been asking about it. And because I posted a meal where I used fat-free feta cheese. So I wanted to just, I guess, show you and talk about, oh, I left my water container over there. I'll get it. Um, what a little bit of what I've been doing. I lost about 12 pounds in the past um, I guess 3 months now. And it's coming off much more slowly now, but I feel really good. I know for sure that when I've been eating high fat, or let's even just call it 70-30 carnivore way of eating, my weight's been creeping up or stalling. And I want to get a little more weight off. I want to get to a more ideal body fat percentage. So I thought that I would just show you a couple things that I've been doing. I will, if you want, I think it might be good if maybe I'll do one of these Carb Sober Sundays and do like a cooking demo. But I think this will actually work because I just went over into my fridge and grabbed some things that I had defrosting for today. And so I have a nice tuna steak here, and that's not going to be enough for a meal. So I will add in a boneless, skinless chicken breast. And when you add to that different flavors, the cocoa aminos, if you've not ever used that, it's a liquid cocoa amino. Tastes a lot like soy without the soy. Gives it that umami kind of flavor I love. The other thing that I do quite a bit is just the liquid egg whites, and lots of them. This is about, I think, like 2 cups of egg whites. I usually will do half for like part of my meal. And I also incorporate some other, let's call them condiment type things, whether you want to, well, whatever you want to call them. But if it's pickles or sauerkraut or other ferments, so what else? Even sometimes a little salsa. Yeah. Take away my carnivore card, but I do really well with a varied spices, and I've never had gut issues or microbiome issues. So that's, part of what I'll throw out there. If you're trying to heal from some sort of metabolic issue, gut issue, candida, any significant health issue, then I would stay more limited in your variety and stick to carnivore until you've healed things, and then see what you can add back in. I'm really enjoying adding some things back in. So what a meal might be for me could be, I know this is going to sound really weird, but cooking up some egg whites while I'm also sauteing. I will probably cut these up and mix it in with the egg whites with some of the cocoa aminos. And then I will typically use an egg life wrap. So the plain ones are fine. This is roasted garlic and herb. There's a garden salsa one. They're pretty clean ingredients. You can make your own egg white wraps too, but I'm the quick and easy kind of gal. It's enough for me to have to cook up these, but this is basically egg whites and let's see, parsley, basil, natural flavor, sea salt, onion, rosemary, and Yeah, it's pretty clean. So, okay, and then I also took out to show you reduced fat. They have actually non-fat feta cheese. Also, the reduced fat is only 4.5 grams per, I guess it's a quarter cup. And yeah, that's what's really been helping me. That's the only thing that I've changed is dramatically reducing my um, grams of fat and bumping up these other, let's just call them ancillary condiments, whether it's sauerkraut, salsa, yeah, just see what you can tolerate. And let me say everybody's got different reasoning coming into carnivore, and mine was not to heal a disease or a gut issue. Mine was the processed food addiction, binge eating. And I know for sure, as I've gone through this long journey of doing this, that I have to understand what I do and do not have sober behavior around. Um, Cheese, even as a carnivore food, I don't keep in my fridge other than things like this, which I've never binged on. It doesn't cause me to binge. But if I have a brick of cheddar in there, if I have a ball, God forbid, of fresh mozzarella in there, brie, you name it, it calls my name. So there's foods like that that we say, okay, this is still carnivore, but I need to be very cautious and I will have cheese like that when I'm out because there's portion control. So, but what I'm getting at is I don't binge on salsa. I don't binge on cucumbers or pickles, but they add a great element. So sometimes if I have a can of canned chicken breast, I know, don't hate on me, but it's very convenient and easy. I get a big 6-pack from Costco. Makes a great low fat meal. I'll dump that in a bowl. I'll add some mustard. Again, not carnivore, but what are we doing here? Do you feel that the mustard is harmful in a health way to you? Does mustard cause you to then binge on the chicken breast? Like, we have to think logically of what's in our food plan and why, and what things we are not allowing in our food plan and why. I mean, cookies, muffins, ice cream, cake would never work. And I would never be able to moderate. And it's never something that I'm even now tempted to eat because I just know it's a big dead set no. But I've talked about this a lot in my membership group because there's a lot of people who come into it and have a horrible time with relationship with food and binge eating and have to eliminate everything. And some people all the way down to a lion diet to get yourself to the point where you're understanding your behaviors around food and what you do and do not have sober behavior around. So, and then I try to make sure everybody knows everybody's welcome into the group. It doesn't have to be strict lion or carnivore. You don't have to come in thinking that's what you have to do. What you have to do is figure out what your plan is that's going to work for you, that you are going to commit to stick to, because straying from that leads you down a very slippery slope very quickly. And make sure you understand that things like cucumber, which I happen to love, with vinegar. We could get into a whole discussion of vinegar too. I really think vinegar is beneficial. We all know about apple cider vinegar. So I can eat half of an entire cucumber with my tuna and chicken and feel really good. I don't binge on the cucumber. Like I said, this is all about understanding for you what your food plan is. I don't do well with bread. First of all, I think the gluten is a bit of an issue. I never got tested. I've always kind of known through time that if I eat pizza, I would get bloated. This is like way back in my college years. So I don't know. I've never been tested, but I also know that what's the use of bread without butter? And if I'm going to put butter on bread, I don't moderate that. I want another piece, not half a bagel toasted with cream cheese. I'm going to have the whole bagel and wish that I could have a second. So that's how I decide for me what things might be okay to allow into my food plan. So, where was I going with that? Yeah, so making up meals that might be, I might do egg white with everything but the bagel seasoning on it, um, maybe a little of the low fat or fat free feta, and I will do 2 of these wraps. If I make 1 cup, measure out a cup of the liquid egg white, I mix in like an ounce of the feta, because yes, I do track my macros. Why? Because I'm trying to figure out what does and does not work. Some people say you hate tracking and you don't want to track. You know what? It's simple, it's easy, especially when your meals get repetitive. My tracker will automatically populate this and this near the top. So I just have to hit it, put the measurement in. But if I do the egg white, the feta, and a little bit of the everything but the bagel seasoning, and then half of it will go on one wrap, another half go on the other, and it's fabulous, and it's a delicious meal, and it's very low fat. I will sometimes also do the egg white and put in also some, actually, I'll usually just buy ground chicken breast or turkey breast, and I'll mix that in with the egg white, and then put it on the wrap and put a layer of some fresh salsa on it. And so there you have it. That's pretty much a lot of what I do. And then I'll do shrimp dishes, scallop dishes, white fish. And I think that, again, if you want to experiment, this is not, I'm going to go into the questions. This is not PSMF that I'm doing, because I am not dramatically restricting my calories down to like 800 calories. I am dramatically decreasing my fat, and which of course in turn decreases my caloric intake, but I'm eating plenty of protein, and I'm also adding in, like I said, these extra, we'll call them condiments. But, whether it's cucumber, pickles, sauerkraut, I'm trying to, you know what, maybe I'll do a whole video of what foods I allow and don't allow based on what I'm doing now and what I have complete sober behavior around. Okay, so let me go into, and good morning and thank you for joining in. I pretty much have been just talking about, because I've had a lot of questions over on Instagram about my lower fat meals. And I'm showing today, I'm going to make the tuna and the chicken, and probably also some egg whites. I've pretty much only eat 2 meals a day, sometimes 1 meal a day, or there might be just like a small initial meal, and then what I call a main meal, and that's it. And then I try to, some days I will dry fast between my meals. So yesterday I actually went out to lunch with some friends, and that eating ended for that main meal of the day at about 3 o'clock for me. And then I went out, I walked about 5, I guess I did 6 miles total yesterday. Came home, and I normally would really want to have either a seltzer or my electrolyte water, but sometimes I intentionally do a dry fasting period. And if you know, I have two, I think, different videos on dry fasting in my YouTube channel here. I have not done any extended dry fasting since back then when I did the videos, but I will sometimes do a 16, 18, or 24-hour dry fast. Not all the time. Sometimes I'm just doing, I'll have water. And let me go grab my water container. Hang on, hang on. I was trying to do this before I came on and then I ran out of time. But so this is a 32-ounce container. If you know, I've talked about this in the past. This morning routine is the electrolyte that I have come to absolutely love. I give it out as a sample pack to everybody that I can when I'm at a meetup. And so many people have written to me, oh my gosh, I've never heard of this. This is so awesome. I'm ordering it. I love it. Do you have a discount code? So I love to share what I find and love. I really prefer this over any of the other electrolytes that I have tried. Very subtle. It's lemon, apple cider vinegar, minerals, and salt. And the instructions say to put one of those packets in 16 to 20 ounces of water. My preferred is this 32 ounce, maybe because I like it a little more dilute. I don't know. So, and I have a link right now already. And I copied and pasted what I usually put underneath my videos. And so there is a link to this morning routine. And like I said, give it a try. It's just so refreshing. Love it. Okay, let me take some questions and go ahead and write your questions over in the chat. Do you eat eggplants? So I will just say a quick outright no to that, only because I don't know. I've never really cooked them or eaten them in the past. And the only thing when I think of eggplants, I think eggplant Parmesan. I think I remember my mom slicing them, and then I don't know whether you soak them or you salt them first. Did you put them in a little milk? I don't remember. There was something about eggplant. And then my mom would bread them and fry them. And I do remember enjoying eggplant Parmesan dishes at Italian restaurants way, way long ago in the past. But so I guess that's the reason why I'm saying no. It's not that I have anything particularly an aversion to them. I actually remember really liking them, but I think I only liked them when they had the whole eggplant Parmesan thing going on. So, but again, this is for you to decide what you feel belongs in your plan as far as health, nutrition. I personally don't go by the mantra in my head is not there that every plant is trying to kill me. I'm perfectly content having some nice fresh salsa, not thinking the tomatoes are going to kill me. Now, I don't have gut issues or histamine issues or, and a little bit, I'm not talking about going plant-based and then just having a little bit of lean protein with it. I'm talking about being lean protein, I'll call it animal carnivore based, and having some add-ons. Like I've always put in things like I make that raw beef tartare recipe, I put in mustard, I put in some chopped capers, I put in a little chopped pickle. Um, so this isn't anything new for me as far as I've gotten, some comments of people saying, but that's not carnivore. It's like, we're not here to hold a carnivore card and have a carnivore competition. We're here to feel good and have a satiating diet that is leading us and or keeping us at optimal health. I mean, I feel right now I'm at optimal health. I've not had any diagnosis, although I will say, as my prior 5 years of menopause and some very sneaky weight creeping on, that my A1C now, and I don't know whether that is from very long-term carnivore. I've heard things like that, and then there's the other side of the argument that your red blood cells live longer when you're eating carnivore, and so your A1C will be higher, but I was not comfortable with it. My parents are both diabetic, my brother diabetic, and so I am tracking, and I'm doing glucose most mornings, and I am seeing what getting that excess weight off will do for my A1C. And also incorporating some, yes, we're going to say the big the 4-letter C word, carb. um, Add in a little bit, and I don't know. We'll see if it changes the metabolism, which it's supposedly metabolism gets tanked when you're strict carnivore for a long period of time. But again, conflicting information, because there's a lot of long-term carnivores. But who's to say what's happening with the metabolism? I don't want to have to walk 25 to 30,000 steps a day to be able to eat just a normal amount of food to be able to keep weight off. Like, that to me is a problem with metabolism. If you need to do that much walking to compensate for just eating a normal amount of food. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there as far as what I'm personally going through and what I'm doing. And, I know I think everybody's path on this is really difficult because there's no manual. This is exactly the right way to eat. This is exactly the right macros for a human being to live optimally. There's none of that. And there's such a variation, and yes, we're omnivores. We can handle and take nutrient value from all different types of foods. So to say that the only way to be healthy is strict, full carnivore with not touching a speck of plant food, I think is, and in my opinion, not really the message that at least I want to put out, because that hasn't been my experience as far as where I'm going and what I'm doing. And you guys can come along for the ride if you're interested, and I'll probably try to do separate videos on maybe I'll do a video on 3 different of my favorite low-fat carnivore-ish meals. And maybe that's what I'll call this, carnivore-ish. I don't know. What's a better word? Carnivore adjacent? You tell me. Here's a question that says, would love more info on why eating carnivore keto is helpful for emotional and mental health of kids who are thin and not overweight, more benefits than weight loss. Yeah, I'm going to say the main word I'm going to throw out here is inflammation. And what are these kids eating prior that has caused emotional and mental and, let's say, ADD, ADHD issues? And even autism has been shown to have a dramatic improvement with dietary changes. But the diet of the majority of kids, and I'm going to say I was totally part of it and at fault, because I fell into goldfish crackers. Oh, this is many years ago, before I knew about anything of seed oils or zero carb or carnivore. This is me just, you know, being a mom, and everybody's, this is the quick, easy thing that you snack on, and granola bars. And I think a lot of this processed food gets very normalized, and it's just so convenient and a quick and easy grab until you have a totally different mindset that, a quick and easy grab can be also beef jerky and carnivore bars and, oh my gosh, Power Puck bars. Oh, they're so nutritious and no bad ingredients, right? So all of those things, like had I known and had I been in the know, would have done different. But thinking I was somebody who was, into that whole kind of now. It wasn't really bad, but yeah, there was a time where I bought goldfish crackers because my kids were, it's easy when you're out at the park or whatever, I guess, right? And when you switch that child, even if they're thin and not overweight, the nutrient density of food and getting rid of red dye number 40, blue and yellow dye, like all of this stuff, and the chemicals, the carrageenan and the xanthan gum and the all of that stuff is it needs to be out of the diet. And once all of that's inflammatory, some kids are extremely sensitive to artificial dyes and colorings. And, it's so important to understand that this is really not about a weight loss diet. And I know a lot of people come to it for that, but it's cleaning up, getting down to a whole foods diet. And so even Carnivore-Ish is whole foods, right? Even if I'm eating what I just showed you here with the tuna steak, it's just so pretty. I love holding this up. The tuna steak that I'm going to eat right after I get off of here, the chicken breast, egg white, one ingredient, whole foods, a cucumber, tomato. Like this is the logically really the ideal way to eat is whole foods, single ingredient. Nothing that comes in a box, a bag, a bottle, or a jar is kind of the gist of it. But yeah, I mean, I use the liquid cocoa aminos that comes in a jar, a bottle. Trying to think of what else I might have out of, well, I mean, these all come in containers. I should be cracking open the egg and either storing, freezing the egg yolk until I'm going to make that in something else differently and do it. But again, for convenience, and the ingredients of this is, you can see, ingredients, egg whites. So I don't feel too badly that I'm going that route with something like that. But yeah, there's so many benefits just getting rid out of and most kids are in a standard American diet. Bonnie says she keeps frozen butter bites on hand all the time using that YouTube recipe that I did. I love that that video. And because it worked out so well that it went right through the phases of exactly how it typically goes when I make the brown butter bites. And I show you how I like to make them pretty dark brown. And I've not yet burnt a batch. So let's see. And Bonnie said she watched the documentary that I'm in, Animal, with their daughter and son-in-law the other night. They do not understand eating this way isn't just for weight loss. And actually, like I said a little bit earlier here, it's not for weight loss, and it was never intended as a fad, hack, quick fix weight loss diet. It's sort of turned there's a huge portion of people that think that, like, oh, I'm going to go on that diet. And that diet, oh, I've seen so many Transformation Tuesday pictures of this was the pants I used to wear, and look at me now pictures, right? And you have that. But for many people, the weight loss is extremely slow. This is for health. This is getting rid of all the other garbage, which typically translates into weight loss. And we would like to believe, and well, I will say, I do believe this can bring you to an ideal body weight, whether you're underweight and come to carnivore and it brings you up to your ideal body weight, or if you're overweight and you're doing carnivore, will gradually bring you. But here's the big capital B, but is that there's a lot more to it. There is so much to our broken relationship with food and eating to fill an emotional void, eating for entertainment, and outright eating out of emotion, stress, anxiety, depression, loneliness. Lots of different stressors can hit us in many different ways, and some of us will tend to have learned that we are comforted or numbed by food. And that's a whole different entity. And that's a really important part of this because, gosh, when you think about it, and I've said this, there are carnivore foods that I don't have sober behavior with. If I make a pound of bacon, the pound of bacon is continually calling me, even if I've had my serving, to pick at a little more and then later go back to wrap it up and put it in the fridge and pick at it some more. And that does not lead to ideal body weight and weight loss when you have a mindset of volume eating disorder, which I've talked about a bit, and eating for emotional reasons and eating to, I guess you kind of know what I mean when I say numb out. It just, it's just that, just that, that turning to food in a repetitive way all through our lives has temporarily kept causing the dopamine hit, the serotonin, the GABA. And we've learned, unfortunately and incorrectly, that food equals comfort instead of food equaling nourishment and satiation. So just, I and believe me, there's a whole huge world of people out here in this space that are stalled and not able to. I lost the initial 20 pounds, but I've got 40 more to go and nothing's budging. Well, we have to think about why. And I know, there's a mindset of, oh, if you're under eating and you're under eating for a long period of time, you've probably tanked your metabolism. Yeah. And that person will need to reverse diet and work up, maybe put on a couple pounds until they get back up to what their metabolic, their total daily energy expenditure caloric amount is, and then be able to reduce from there and actually lose weight as opposed to staying down at that low body weight. Kelly Hogan just did a really great video about exactly that. For me, and I'm going to tell you, for me and many people that have been through and in my coaching groups, I've never had a problem with undereating. I've never been an undereater. I've always been a volume eater. When I'm done with my meal, I'm like, all right, what else? What am I going to cap this off with? I just need something like that's, and calorie counting and going, oh gosh, I'm only through lunch and I'm already capped out at what my TDEE is. Like, I've never had an undereating problem. And there's many people also like me who never had an undereating problem and are still stalled out by what? Potentially the macros that you're eating, potentially your hormones, your thyroid, your metabolism's tanked, your cortisol's off. I know it sounds crazy, but getting out in that early sunrise sunlight on our skin and our eyes helps with ghrelin, leptin, cortisol, and insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. I know it sounds crazy. How could that possibly be related? But get yourself outside more, eat whole foods, and and try to figure out, if are you one of those who is an undereater? Maybe you've never tracked, and maybe you're only eating 850, 900 calories. I don't know. That seems crazy to me. I can do that in a meal. So, all right, I will keep going here. So what about constipation? So Carmela's referring to my discussion here on doing these low fat meals. And I have no issue whatsoever with constipation. So I know higher fat is supposed to, well, high fat often gives people loose stools. And if people are on carnivore and they're constipated, the recommendation is to eliminate dairy, because dairy can be constipating, and to increase your fats. So I don't know, maybe whatever. And I've been doing this for 3 months now, pretty much May, June, and July, or just part of May. So 2.5 months, and have never once had an issue. And I will say I know you're going to be shocked by this, but many days, most days, my fat is under 30, and I will say even under 20. Because I'm not eating 80/20 ground beef, and I'm not eating ribeyes now at all while I'm doing this experience. I like to call it an experience instead of an experiment. And it's mainly because I am trying to understand how my body is reacting to this. And like I said, so far, it's just been a beautiful, gradual dropping of weight, and I am still lifting heavy. I am not sparing my muscles. I'm not, fasting for multiple days. And I feel like I'm actually building muscle through this. So I don't know. That's my experience. I know everybody's going to have something different if you go really low fat, but I'm going low fat, and I am going Carnivore-Ish, where I am eating some cucumber, eating some salsa, eating some sauerkraut. I don't know. Maybe that helps. I'm not really sure, but that's my experience so far. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining in. I almost didn't come on to do this Carb Sober Sunday because I woke up at 6 o'clock, 5:55 with sunrise. I caught the most beautiful sunrise, and just relaxed and hanging out, and had literally nothing planned for today. And I said, you know what? I think this is valuable for you all to join in and talk and ask questions and be here with me, enjoying a Sunday morning chat. I feel like I'm truly not here trying to convince anybody of anything, not trying to sell anybody anything. You could maybe call this an ad that I am doing for morning routine. No, I love it. I drink it. It's the only one that I will use. I actually dislike the others compared to this. I like this one so much. It's just such a beautiful, subtle lemon. It's got apple cider vinegar in it too, but I don't taste vinegar. I should probably put an extra squirt of apple cider vinegar. But I put apple cider vinegar when I drink a seltzer, usually, and get it that way too. Oh, wow, this is interesting. So Bonnie says, besides keeping frozen butter bites on hand, she also freezes apple cider vinegar cubes and lemon and lime juice too. And you add that to your vessel and every morning before yoga. So I'm trying to think. So do you just put in all those cubes into your um, vessel and then it just gradually melts and you drink that, or you fill it with those cubes and then you add some nice water and then those flavored cubes just beautifully, like heck, I'm thinking, why not? You could even do a mixture with the electrolytes into the cubes too, but that might be too much. I'm so quick and easy. I pour the packet in, I put in my reverse osmosis ice cubes and my reverse osmosis water, and off I go. Okay, Sharon says carnivore for a year and a half with amazing results. However, A1C has increased from 5.4 to 5.7, and even fasting insulin has increased from 4.8 to 10.7. Makes me go, yeah. So the question is now, so the amazing results that you've had, and awesome because it's brought you out of your prior world of non, let's just say, I don't want to call it standard American diet. Maybe some of us have had a better diet in the past, but let's just call it your standard diet and come into carnivore, which has removed a lot of inflammatory components of the diet and gotten you amazing results. So now the question is, would it be appropriate? Would it be ideal to add in some alternate items? So to be carnivore-ish and then see what happens to your A1C and your fasting insulin. I had blood work done and I just scanned through it, but I should do a video. I'm trying to remember what my fasting insulin was. But my A1C has been, I don't want to say it's just been creeping up this whole time. It's been, I think when I did it 4 years ago, and I had done it a couple times, it's always been about 5.8, 5.9, 5.7, all in that area. And that was after, I guess at that point, 10, 11 years carnivore. Now I'm 16 years carnivore. And again, could just be an aside of long-term carnivore, but I am just personally not comfortable with hanging my hat on that explanation. If I can change what I'm doing, and again, I feel like I guess I'm going to say I feel like for an ideal metabolically lean body weight, a female should be about 22%, right in there. And getting down to that, I'm going to see if my A1C and fasting insulin changed. My fasting insulin was below 5, but the A1C is like, and sometimes I've said it sometimes, and I think this was also Kelly Hogan said sometimes her morning glucose was over 100. Mine, I didn't do it today because I was in a rush to get up and get set up for this, but it could be like from 95 to 115 in the mornings. And again, I'm just not comfortable with sitting on that. And I feel like this is a really great transition for me to see what's happening. And, you can't monitor what you don't measure. So I'm being diligent about tracking. I know I'm going to get to the point where it's so repetitive, I don't need to track, but I'd like to still track so that I can put it up to show exactly what I did and what was working and maybe what's not. So I'm here, like I said, just to give you um, my my situation, my story, and my journey. And again, like I said, I was kind of getting into this before. I'm not here to be dogmatic and adamant that this way is the right way or what I'm doing is what everybody has to do. No, not at all. I'm just expressing what is working, what is not working, and how I am transitioning to see what is going to work or not work. I just want to, give my experience, and hopefully you don't feel I am at all here to um, sell and push product. I totally do tell you about products I use and love. And whether it's my blue blocker glasses, my red light unit, my Spurty vitamin D lamp, all of those things that have become important to me and my health, and for me, really trying to, I really dig deep before I make a major purchase. So um, that's where I'm at. So Nikki asks, what is the electrolyte brand? It's Morning Routine. And in this video right now that you're watching, in the description, I have the link and a discount code. I think they give a discount on your first purchase. I get a bag of, it's like a, a, a bag that has 30 of these in it. And I just love the convenience of it. And I I think why they give the discount on the first purchase is to get you to try it and see if you like it, and then I'm hooked. Like I said, the other electrolytes are a total no bueno for me. I don't like the intensity of the stevia in them. I don't like the intensity of the flavor of them. And this, so I'm just, like I said, I share the minimalist barefoot sneakers, shoes that I wear. I show you what I love, and hopefully, and like I said, I've had so many people who've written to me that said that they got them and absolutely love them. So I hope you do too if you're into finding a different electrolyte. Um, let's see. Let me go back up to grab a couple other questions. Bonnie, I did like your apple cider vinegar, lemon, and lime juice cubes. That's very intriguing. I might have to just try that and see how that goes. I'm gonna yeah. Package of mac and cheese just because it's organic doesn't mean it's good for overall health for kids. Oh my gosh, that Annie's, right? Or, you know, it. So, yeah, ideally we make things from scratch. We live busy lives. Sometimes that just isn't going to happen. But again, it's what cost is our health of using artificial colorings, flavorings, chemicals, because they've got anti-caking things in there so things don't clump. It's like a whole conundrum of issues. And bottom line is we could, fix your family some chicken, some tuna, some rice, and some, I don't know, you could end up mixing in um, bean sprouts, water chestnuts. Oh yeah, water chestnuts is another thing that I like to chop up. Do I think they're going to kill me? No. Do I eat a high volume of them that it would have any sort of an impact? No. Do I enjoy a varied flavor and need a little bit more food when you're doing really low fat? So this is just where I'm going with, trying to get to a lean, metabolically healthy body weight. Um, let's see. I'm going to see if there's any others. Oh, what is Gillum gum? I've noticed I see that a lot in heavy cream, which annoys the heck. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like around here, I can't find it. In Pennsylvania, near where my mom lives, they actually will sell raw milk. There's, it's not easy to get, but I can't get any good heavy cream sources or raw milk. But but I'm gonna say, like, if you're in Whole Foods, you can get raw sheep's milk cheese. You can get that kind of thing. But I've been steering well clear of cheese, except for my fat-free or low-fat feta. um, and there's even a reduced fat blue cheese. But I don't binge on crumbled cheeses like that. So thankfully I can still include that in. But yeah, all of those additives and the pasteurization, the homogenization process, all not good, all not good. And so, um, Derek says, do I drink the egg whites right out of the jug or cook? Um, I know some people do that. I don't. And I do know there's a benefit to raw egg white versus the cooked egg white, but I'm not there. I am here just using this as a awesome low fat protein source. Is it bland? Yeah. But you know what? I have used different, oh, I don't have them right here. I should have brought them over. The Salty Provisions Company, love, love, love their salt. This is like a new find for me. I'll put the link down. They have a butter salt, which has actual dehydrated butter mixed in with this Norwegian flake salt. And this Norwegian flake salt has been fully, deeply tested for the lead, the heavy metals, all that. It's fabulous. And she has, I think I made a post on Instagram about it. There's a coffee salt, which sounds really strange, but it is so good on pork. I made a pork tenderloin roast for myself and my mom when I was up at her house taking care of her. And it was fabulous. And on the label, it does says, don't be afraid to try this on multiple. And it was so good. And they make a Wonderlust salt that has an amazing combo of spices in there with the salt. The butter salt's really good. But in any case, I digress. I always go off on the tangent. Sorry. But putting those varied salts in with the egg white is fabulous. I'm grateful I can tolerate spices. I think most people do, but that it's I actually I do. I've made my hot nog drink where I do raw egg white and just froth it in. It's not cooked. Sometimes I'll do a whole egg, sometimes just the yolk, sometimes just the white to get the protein. And it actually does make a real nice froth and consistency in my I just call it a hot nog drink, because I'm off of coffee, off of decaf. I'm still working on getting that video out of all of the reasons why that's like such a normalized, not healthy habit. But yeah, this goes in a little coconut oil, a little MCT oil or MCT oil powder. There's huge benefits to C6 and C8. And I'll try to make a video. Maybe I'll make a video on the C6, C8, and coconut oil and the hot nog drink to get off of the coffee. It's really nice to have that ritual, to have that warm drink. And I find this is one of the best ways. You can put a little collagen in, protein. And I used to do butter also, but now that I'm doing the lower fat, just doing some MCT oil and coconut oil into my vessel of my hot drink is plenty of fat, and so I don't continue on. But if you're doing a high fat carnivore diet and doing well, awesome. I'm not discouraging it at all. And go ahead and do the hot drink with butter. It's fabulous. And then I'll also put the butter salt, or you can put in, your preferred, even if you want to put in an electrolyte, or a lot of times I'll just put salt in there. So, let's see. I don't know. You said you're talking about priming, right? I'm not sure what you're talking about with the priming, if you're answering somebody earlier in the chat or talking to me, but I'm not priming here with this diet at all. I'm trying to just consistently hit a TDEE amount and stay consistent with it with a macro that's low fat, and see if it continually creeps my weight down and I'm not going in this huge calorie deficit. I'm not doing 600, 700, 900 calories. No, I'm 5'3", and I'm losing weight, doing this on about 1,400 calories is what I'm aiming for. So, let's see. All right. Actually, we're at the end of the hour. It goes so fast. So hopefully you get a lot out of this. Hit the like so that maybe this will help my channel and help me to get more information, because then it might show it to other people. So thank you for joining in, and hopefully I'll see you next week.